the mark on his face there from his previous escapades in the cage. Very dominant from the top, excellent takedowns, very tight when he gets up against that cage and works for the takedown. He's equally has some great power in his looping hooks, so watch out for those close range.
Yes, nice centre of gravity to him in his opening bout, and when he got that opportunity, he really finished strongly and powerfully with that ground and pound, giving the referee no option when he had the opportunity. And we talked about the tournament situation, get in there early, get out early if you can, and he did exactly that.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponents, representing Austria, Bogdan Grad.
And his opponent in the red corner will be coming from Austria, Bogdan Grad. And by contrast, he had to go the full 3 rounds against a very tough Swede.
I have seen Bogdan around the hotel and indeed watching some of the fights previously. And he seemed quite relaxed and calm. He was checking out his opponents, looking around, very aware of his surroundings still. So he's a very smart man. He does a great job of tying all his attributes together, coupled with the strength and conditioning, as you can see from his arm there, heavily vascular and muscled up.
Yes, Navid Bardi from Sweden was his opponent that he beat, and as you rightly said, it was only literally 1 bout after that. He sat in that front row behind him for the rest of the afternoon, watching all the other bouts, even beyond the lightweight bouts, Dean, just soaking it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a lightweight contest for over 3-minute rounds. And in the blue corner, representing Ireland, Kieran Clark. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, representing Austria, Bogdan Grad. Your referee in charge of the action, Hamed Kochi.
We're in the lightweight division. Kieran Clark, Republic of Ireland in the blue corner, Bogdan Grad, Austria in the red. And the first jab comes from the young Irishman in the blue as Grad looks to walk him down and engage immediately, boxing immediately for that setup from Grad. His stall set out early there, Dean.
He was looking for the left hook there, and Clark enabled that clinch by closing the distance, but Clark now having to fight off the cage, and Grad is going to try and reap that leg out. He's going to try and hook his leg behind his adversary's leg and circle round to his right side.
And the forehead of Grad right into the cheek of Clark as well in this clinch up, making it uncomfortable for him in every way. And then it was Clark looked for the reap this time, Dean.
Yeah, that was enabled by the underhook. His corner said you need that right underhook, and he funneled it in and instantly gave him better control. And you can see that because he turned Grad against the cage. Now he's taking the single leg here. He's got to be careful of his neck. If Grad can get both legs round, but pops his head out.
Well, Grad did, I think, drop for that guillotine, but couldn't secure it, Dean, and better positioning now for Clark, and we know what he's capable of from this position. He remains patient, but when he does get the opportunity, explosive with the ground and pound.
Clark now using the head underneath the chin to make Grad uncomfortable, and it serves as like a targeting technique. You can feel where the head is, so when the punch comes over the top, it'll be more accurate.
Looking to posture up, you can see Clark here. Looking to get beyond those legs as well again, Dean.
Now he's got a posture up, he's get caught in this triangle position here, diamond guard. And it looked like Grad switched to an armbar there. And Clark now circling around, he's going to stay heavy from the top and start to work his right arm out of the legs of Grad. Clark on top, controlling the head.
And you heard his corner there, Dean, to the left of our commentary position say, heavy hips, heavy hips.
Yeah, they want him to be heavy on top, stay connected to his opponent, but not too connected. Thus not to get swept. But at this point in time, he gave Grad a bit of space to sneak that knee in. Now Grad's working around from the half guard. Clark explodes out that position. And there we see some explosive punches from Clark.
Brings that head in again as he comes in again. Dean, but Grad doing a good job defensively.
Clark looking for that double underpass, but Grad staying very heavy on his legs. Working the high guard. Could potentially look for the guillotine here from the diamond guard. Excuse me, triangle.
Last 10 seconds.
Some nice punches there from Grad. He's trying to soften up here and distract. What he wants to do is secure that triangle position, but evidently ran out of time there, Malcolm.
Very similar style, both men, in the way they approach this opening round, Dean.
Yeah, it was a feeling out process, and both game and ready men, and very smart and high fighter IQ between the two of them. They want to test where their opponent's strengths and indeed weaknesses lie and expose them in the later rounds. Here we see the handiwork of Clark. Nice single leg, head inside. He's careful to avoid the guillotine here. Watch him be very patient and then posture up. Here we see some powerful punches down the center line. And this allowed Grad to get that clasp over the head, which in turn promoted Clark to look for the double underhook pass, but didn't quite get it.
We're in the lightweight division. Kieran Clark from Ireland in the blue corner. Bogdan Grad, Austria in the red. Round 2 of 3. Very even, very measured opening round with similar styles from both men here.
Clark now changing the levels. Says to me he could potentially be looking for some uppercuts or even working a level change. Clark now frantically trying to stay up on top, but Grad gets on top and the crowd respond.
Yes, it was that looping overhand right from Grad that took Clark's attention there. Clark back to his feet. And this time reverses it. Nice work from Clark to reverse that, Dean.
And that's kind of Clark's repertoire there. Technical takedowns with pressure. That's the key here. He keeps very close to his opponent. And Clark now is going to try and free these arms. And posture up. Grad doing a good job of overhooking that arm, controlling the posture of Clark, potentially looking for the elevator sweep there. Be careful of the omoplata here. And Grad wants to sit all the way up now, S his legs, and then force his hips over the body of Clark. This will put tremendous pressure onto the shoulder joint here, Malcolm.
Dangerous times for Kieran Clark in the blue corner. And he talked about the patience of Clark. I've been equally impressed with the technique and patient style of Grad. And as I said, in many ways, these two young men in this matchup mirror images of each other.
And Grad did a great job of obtaining that position. It's notoriously hard to get an omoplata in MMA. Just the affordance of the slip factor makes it very difficult to secure that submission. He's going to have to stink the arm out. Once his elbow gets past the knee joint of Grad, he's free. But Grad using this opportunity to pound the face here of Clark. Scoring the points nonetheless with the striking whilst holding on to the grappling.
Yes, constantly eating that left hand, Clark, while he looks to escape from this.
Clark's got to look to strip these legs. He's got to push down and pull his elbow up. There we go. Now he's got to start to work this arm out of this position, free it. You can see the right arm of Grad overhooking the body of Clark. That's to prevent him skipping over the body and escaping in that way.
Now that he has escaped, he's got good position for himself then. I really admire the patience of both men. That, as you said, this is a real chess match, this one, Dean.
Yeah, back and forth, and very cautious and careful advances here by both athletes. And Grad looking to his corner, giving a nod. They're giving him some instructions here, and he's going to try and execute that underneath Clark. And a technical battle, a kinetic chess display here in the RMF cage. And I was impressed with Grad's ability to cinch up that omoplata and maintain that position for a while, but ultimately it's very hard to catch in MMA. You see here from the replay some of the stand-up as Grad goes down for the single leg, and Clark turns that around by forcing the head downward, but then Grad switches his hips through, ends up on top, and here we see some of the handiwork from the omoplata position. The left hand sneaking through on the top to Clark. Clark unfazed by that, however. He understands he's got to get his arm out of there. That's the paramount thing for him to do, is to get his arm free.
Yeah, you mustn't worry about the fact that you're being constantly punched in the face there, Dean. Incredible, these athletes, and when you think about it, what they take when they know what's more important here. But for me, as you said, it was about the length of time, and because of that timing, I err in favour of Grad in that round. We're in the lightweight division. Kieran Clark, Ireland, in the blue corner. Bogdan Grad, Austria, in the red. We're in the third round, and it's a very close encounter between two men. Oh, almost no images, but beautiful low kick there from Grad right at the beginning of the round, and the Austrian crowd behind us really getting behind their man now. Solid kick to take him to ground, Dean.
That was right time, right place, and now he finds himself advancing on the top from the half guard. He's going to look to sneak his left knee through and knee slice across the left leg. And Clark here looking to get the barfly hooks to work back to a guard or potentially a sweep. He's got to flick that other leg out. There we go. Now the full defensive position begins from the bottom. He's going to control the posture here, working the rubber guard.
2 minutes left.
And again, another position that we're seeing a lot more in MMA, and it's being tried and tested throughout the MMA world. This rubber guard here, Eddie Bravo's system. And it works a lot on flexibility and unorthodox submissions, and often steps to take back to back to progress to a certain submission. And there's some crazy ones in there too.
But what it's doing at the moment is really stopping Grad progressing here, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got this high guard here, and he's going to try and work to some sort of armbar here. But, I mean, Grad sensed that, kept patient, tried to move his head out of that position, and now finds himself safe again, sat in the half guard. But at this point in time, the half guard's not particularly tight. If Grad can sense that, he could pop up to his knees and drive that knee across for the knee slice pass and end up into the full mount position.
110 left here.
As it is at the moment, as the clock's ticking, they're both just exchanging short punches from the position of referee. As it was just the punch exchanges, brings them both up.
60 seconds.
And this time, Clark goes straight for the single leg.
And that was due to the fact that he heard his corner shout 60 seconds, 60 seconds. That says in his mind, urgency to obtain some points. And also often the best time to do that and show optimum control is to look for a takedown and get it. And we're seeing again Clark now trying to finish the round strong on top, Malcolm.
I agree with you, Dean. It's good tactics, and he needs to as well, because this is, again, a very, very close bout. We had some really close bouts in the first session here today, and this is another one of those in the lightweight division.
Oscar and strike.
Clark now looking to work his way up to a decent posture to rain down punches. He's getting tied up,
Last
however.
10 seconds, Dean.
Yeah, he's getting tied up pretty well. Grad's game off his back. He's very defensive. Does a great job of keeping busy and defending from strikes.
Well, Dean, I said we had a number this morning, and this one is very close as well. And you've mentioned on numerous occasions, this could all come down to judges' perspective from their own personal viewpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. I'm edging more towards Clark because he dictated the takedowns and ended up on top. But you can't count out that kick right there. That was beautiful, perfect timing. And he just missed with the ground and pound there. But he actively tried to pass the guard, so he's trying to advance on top in this position with a knee slice. And here we go, the takedown attempts from Clark. Now, this is the difference for me. the ability to Clark to shoot in, obtain that leg, and somewhat drag both of them to the ground, but nonetheless he was controlling where they were.
This could be very interesting, this one. A lot at stake, obviously, for both men.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we've had to go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges scored about 29-28 in favor of your winner. In the red corner, representing Austria, Bogdan